Welcome to another episode of Football Fired Up. I'm your host, Shad, and on today's episode, we'll be doing a little bit of football trivia at the start. Well, they'll be reviewing Game Week 13, followed by a little bit of prediction time for Game Week 14. I'm going to start straight away with my co-host to introduce himself.
Yeah, so we're reviewing this midweek, 10 games in 3 days, very busy. So looking forward to that, especially the predictions at the end. But the questions, I had a bit of a rough ride last time round, but, all the best to me.
All the best to you indeed. All right, so there's not going to be that many this week, but let's see how many of these you can get. So we're going to start off straight away. So, which player has so far got the most Premier League assists?
Wow, actually, interestingly enough, I was doing some notes on Saturday, and I know the answer to that, but I knew it anyway, but it's got to be Harry Kane.
It is.
10.
Big man, Harry Kane. All right, that's a good start. In the top 9 assist makers in the Premier League, there are 2 teams that feature 2 separate players. Which 2 teams are they?
Right.
Tricky trivia time.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out, who scored, the most goals in the Premier League so far, and maybe go from there, but you've given me a toughie, you have.
Who's been good at assists? What players stand out to you?
Harry Kane, isn't it? And Kevin De Bruyne. But Man City is struggling to score goals at the moment, so I can't imagine many assist makers there.
You're right when you say that.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of goals, Liverpool scored the most.
You'll be surprised to know they don't have a single player in the top 9 for assist makers this season.
Well, that says it. But Trent Arnold was out injured, wasn't he? So, and he normally gets all the assists for Liverpool. So it looks like they've balanced over the squad since he's been out. But he returned again. I'm not too sure, Shad.
Who do you think? Give us 2 guesses then. If you ain't going to get it, give us 2 guesses.
I want to say Kevin De Bruyne and Riyad Mahrez.
Okay, so you're saying Manchester City is one of the teams. What about the other team?
Oof. I'm gonna go with Jack Grealish for Aston Villa because he's been a pivotal for Aston Villa.
So you're saying Aston Villa is the other team?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Azad, you got 1 out of 2 there. That's not too bad. Jack Grealish has got quite a few assists, but did you know John McGinn has also got 5 assists this season already? The other one,
John McGinn.
Yeah, John McGinn, and the other one, quite surprisingly, is Everton. So Richarlison, even with his 3-game ban, he's actually got 5 assists already. And just to top it off, Lucas
Digne.
Lucas Digne, that's it. He's got 5 assists. I know he's injured now. So that was quite a tricky question, okay? I'll give you something slightly easier. There are 3 players at this moment in time that are top of the Premier League charts in terms of goals. Who are they?
So 5 players in the top of the Premier League goal charts, did you say?
No, 3. There are 3 players that are jointly leading the Golden Boot race. Who are they?
Oh, that's easy.
Go on then.
Calvert-Lewin, Son, and Salah. So,
that is correct. Who, from the bottom half of the table, is leading? If it was a Golden Boot race of just bottom half teams, who would be leading it right now?
Just the bottom half teams.
Just the bottom half.
Can I look at the league table quick?
I'll tell you the league table. Villa, Palace, Leeds, Newcastle, Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley, Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield. But obviously, Burnley have only scored 6 goals and Sheffield 7, so it's probably not those 2 teams.
Definitely not Arsenal. Definitely not. Wow, we did mention Villa. Got his assist, haven't we, for Jack Grealish and John McGinn. So I'm going to go with Villa.
You're incorrect. You are incorrect. Think of which player has torn the Premier League apart. They're in the bottom half, but he's, as a person, every single week he gets a mention.
Okay, right. So I think I mentioned him quite a bit. So Patrick Bamford.
Hey, there you
Leeds
go.
United.
Leeds
They
United.
scored 5 goals scored 5 goals last night. So
Well, Bamford is up to 9 goals, which is 2 less than Arsenal as a whole club.
Seriously.
Yeah, it is serious. Serious. All right, then. The final question for today is, who has got the meanest defense in the Premier League? Conceded the least amount of goals so far this season?
Ooh, goals against. So
there are 2 teams, so there are 2 points available.
I'm going to go Tottenham first because there's a Jose Mourinho team. The reason I'm choosing Tottenham is because they're so called the pressure and hit the teams on the counter, i.e. Arsenal, Man City. Obviously, they didn't do that against Liverpool. So I'm going to go Tottenham first.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm going to go with Southampton. That's my second team because of Vestergaard. He's been playing really well, and I believe they kept a clean sheet at the weekend. So I'm going to go with Southampton.
It's not Southampton. It is not Southampton. Remember, they conceded, I think it was 5 against Spurs. Is it 4 or 5? Something crazy.
Yep.
So
5,
they've actually not got a great defensive record. I'm going to be generous today. I'm going to give you, not phone a friend, but I'll give you an extra life.
Okay.
You'll be surprised at this one. You'll be surprised at this one.
I'm not too sure, Shad, to be honest. A bit of a clue. I know you give me an extra life, but...
All right, I'm going to give you the clue.
Right. Is Tottenham right?
Tottenham is right. So it's somebody that finished in the top 6 last season.
Okay. Top 6. So you've got Tottenham, City, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea.
No, Arsenal
I'm going to say Chelsea.
6. Arsenal did not finish top 6. That is disgraceful for you to even say that. It was Leicester City that finished in the top 6 last season, all right?
Okay. I'm going to go with... Well, I like to think that Arsenal did finish in the top 6. They didn't. That's probably the lowest ever finished.
No, they didn't. They finished 8th, mate, I think.
They finished 8th?
Yeah, they finished beneath Wolves last season.
Oh, my God.
Mate, I think you'll be happy with 8th this season.
Go Chelsea, because Thiago Silva's coming in. He's captain that ship.
It's not. Shall I tell you who it was? It was Manchester City.
Manchester
City have only conceded 12 goals. People, I know they're mentioning about the fact that they're not scoring a lot of goals, but they're actually not conceding many either. So everybody, let us know how you got on with the questions I've asked. Azad, that's it. So you've done all right. I think we'll give you a B if we were going to grade you today. Actually, do you know what? Nah, forget that. You got quite a few wrong. You'll get a C, man. Forget that, okay?
I started off so well, Shad.
I know, but, it
is what it is.
Disappointing me right now. So let's have a little look at the results from this week, and we will then discuss the games. So
go for it.
Wolves 2, Chelsea 1, Manchester City 1, West Brom 1, Arsenal 1, Southampton 1, Leeds United 5, Newcastle 2, Leicester 0, Everton 2, Fulham 0, Brighton 0, Liverpool 2, Spurs 1, West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 0, Burnley 0, and finally tonight Sheffield United 2, Manchester United 3. So we're going to go straight away to you, Azad, for Wolves 2, Chelsea 1. What did you think of that game?
Well, I'm going to say 2 brilliant players, acquisitions by Wolverhampton, Podence and Neto. Absolutely great players. I'm going to start with the last goal, Pedro Neto, 1-1, last minute, right? I can't remember who played the ball in. I'd have to have a look. Is Benito. Did you see Pedro's run? He's curved it so he could start out wide as possible so he could go in on Zuma. And that left peg, brilliant goal. Absolutely great goal. But I have to say, Olivier Giroud, what a goal. I mean, he scored, the stats are ridiculous. He scored so many goals coming off the bench for Chelsea. His goals to start ratio is absolutely amazing. And I think he's going to be starting a lot more games going forward. Chelsea's wheels have come off in the last 2 games. They're picking back up, but I think they're missing Hakim Ziyech. Hopefully he's back soon, but we'll see what happens. But on the other hand, Wolves, Daniel Prudence, what a goal, and Pedro Neto, excellent goal. So, yeah, other than, I think Wolves, they were unlucky against Villa on Saturday, but they put on a great performance against Chelsea, a great solid performance, and come out with 3 points. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Wolves, I think they're starting to adapt to not having Raul Jimenez. They were unlucky against Villa, and they were, good value for their 3 points against Chelsea. Chelsea now, I'm fearing, if you're a Chelsea fan, this is not going to be pretty for you. You've not beaten a top 10 team yet this season. Not one. Drew against Southampton, lost to Wolves, drew against United, lost to Liverpool. It's not looking great. It's not looking great. I think Frank Lampard, I think he's worse than Fraudiola at this moment in time, I think he might be just worse than Fraudiola. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Chelsea did not make the top 4 this season. But we ain't got time to discuss Chelsea's flaws. Thank you very much for that. Azad, Manchester City won, West Brom won. What you got to make about that result?
Well, I want to say I had 3 friends text me after that final whistle saying, I hate football. And I'm thinking, but if you were West Brom, if you were Slavan Bilic, RIP, he would have said to the West Brom players before the game, we got to defend. If we get an opportunity to attack, we go. However, we've got to defend with 2 banks of 4s. And absolutely, and West Brom did that, and they got a point, but it didn't save Slavan Bilic's job. Overall, it was a great performance by West Brom's goalkeeper, Sam Johnson. They should have, Man City had 2 opportunities at the end, 2 golden opportunities. Gundogan and Sterling with those headers. It was just a great performance. Man City, they need to sharpen their pencil a bit, sharpen their attack, get some goals on the board. Against Burnley is a given. They're going to score goals against Burnley. It's something what happens Man City against Burnley at the Etihad. However, Man City couldn't do any more. West Brom played really well, defended quite well. Keeper was just outstanding, but it's just unlucky. It's one of those games. It's attack versus defence, like a training session. But great point for West Brom and 2 points dropped for Man City.
That's right. I think I do feel sorry for Slavan. Like, you work hard to get a team up and then you get fired. It's disappointing to see, really, especially after the back of such a good result. Away to Manchester City. That's going to be one of the highlights of the season, unless Big Sam keeps them up. Manchester City, if you're a Kevin De Bruyne FPL captainer, then you must be pulling your hair out. Can he do any more to put chances on a plate? I don't think he could. I feel sorry for you, but in a way I'm glad, because he would have been the differential this week and he wasn't. We're going to crack on. Arsenal won, Southampton won. What you got to make about that? Did you watch the game in the end, or did you not, like you said you wasn't?
No, I didn't watch the game. I just avoided it because I thought Southampton were going to do Arsenal, and I didn't want to watch that. However, I have to start with saying congratulations to Theo Walcott, and I'm really happy. So when I saw that notification go in and Theo Walcott scored, I honestly thought Arsenal went 1-0 up. But no, it wasn't. It was me living 10 years ago. However, what I have to say about Gabriel, right, the first goal was his fault. The player's there, he's about to receive the ball, he's gone straight in, thinking he's going to win the ball. He's not won the ball, so he's created a gap at the back and leaving Walcott to get in behind and chip in Leno. Great finish, by the way. And he's done it again. That's why he's been sent off. He's gone tight on Walcott and got the second yellow for the red card. So I'm not sure what's happening there. He's probably panicking. So I don't know what the instructions Arteta's given him, but I don't think there's much going on at training, not much organisation. It is such a shame. But again, Arsenal did well to pull it back. Aubameyang scoring his first goal in 10 games or something like that. I don't know, 18 hours I heard. But yeah, I'm going to have to say, good performance by Southampton. This should have been Southampton 3 points at Emirates. First time in North London getting 3 points at Arsenal since 1988. They should have done it, but they didn't take the opportunity. But it shows a bit of grit from Arsenal. Let's hope they come out net better at Goodison Park on Saturday.
Yeah, you're right. Rob holding almost all 3 points for Arsenal, but yeah, I mean they got a point against somebody in the top 4, which is a good result for Arsenal, isn't it? Let's be honest, right now. So most Arsenal fans would have taken that. Gabriel was a bit stupid. Again, he's now going to be suspended for the next trip. So let's see what Arsenal do next week. Leeds United 5, Newcastle 2. What you got to make about that result?
Well, I have to start by saying Leeds United. Those last 2 goals that Leeds United scored. Did you see how many players broke forward? I mean, it's like the manager saying, "Right, we're playing without the handbrake on. Go for it." And Newcastle fell to their sword, and that's what Leeds United need opponents like that. So Newcastle's come in. They might have had a game plan. It's Steve Bruce. They should have, but Leeds United's taken advantage of Newcastle's naivety and literally pressed them high, got those goals, broke forward, get 6 or 7 players forward every time in every attack. That's how they got those goals. But again, Leeds will ship goals. It's like you can score 1, but we're going to score 2. And that's what I love about Leeds. That's entertaining. And I'm glad to have them back in the Premier League. I think this weekend, the big game, isn't it, is Man United versus Leeds United. So
it's a big game for Leeds, not a big game for United right now. So,
whatever, everyone else in the country will say that's a big game. It's a classic game. But Leeds United itself is a classic game. But I have to say, what a goal for Jack Harrison. What a goal. On loan from Man City. I think he's got a good, positive future ahead of him. And I'm going to have to go back to Patrick Bamford as well. That header that Rodrigo went onto the bar, and then Patrick Bamford followed it in. I mean, 7 years ago, that 20-year-old Bamford wouldn't have done that experience. So where Bamford's been around the block so many years, he's learned so much. And he's one of those experienced players, playing like an older player, getting in this position and scoring those goals. Great player, Patrick Bamford. I think if you're going to put a player into your fantasy league, I think it's Patrick Bamford, because he's going to pick up those pieces and score.
You're right. You're right. I think Bamford's price has already gone up from 5.5 to 6.2 million. So a lot of players have put him in. Rodrigo got a goal and assist. What a waste, man, because I took him out of my fantasy Premier League team this week after 6 weeks of doing nothing. But you know what? Good for you, mate. Good for you. But Leeds United, you're right. Do you know what it reminds me of? Their counter-attacking play. People are going to laugh at this, but it reminds me of when United used to counter-attack with Ronaldo, Rooney, Nani, and Tevez, and they just break so quick. And they used to commit numbers forward. You probably see like Raphael popping up in the box. Leeds do that with their defenders. So Stuart Dallas always popping in the box. Dallas is probably the new Matt Doherty. From fullback, getting into those positions. So if you are another FPL manager, maybe Dallas is the good player to go for. Next result: Leicester 0, Everton 2. So I think I'm going to start on this one. I was disappointed with Leicester. And they've become a real hit and miss team. So some weeks they perform well and they get results. And other weeks, I think saying they don't turn up is wrong, but they did feel like they're a little bit toothless. And if Vardy doesn't perform, there's no one to back up that Leicester team. So I was really, really disappointed. Everton, on the other hand, Carlo Ancelotti, that's 2 clean sheets on a row. And I think if you've watched them play, they had conceded quite a few goals. But now they've reverted back to a more defensive tactic, and Ancelotti's bringing his knowledge that he's had in Syria, and teams are finding it tough. Ben Godfrey is starting to play really well, as is Ashan Holgate. 2 really good young players are coming in, aggressive, great in the challenge. And do you know what? Michael Keane, they spent a lot of money, but he's really maturing into a top defender. So, I might have taken your limelight, but do you have anything else to add to that, Azad?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Leicester, really. So hit and miss, but you're going to get that with the Leicester team. It's a work in progress, really. So we'll see what happens next season. So they've got a really good forward line. With Everton, no, you're absolutely right. Carlo Ancelotti's given them that know-how, how to win games. But he's not always going to get the results with the players he's got. Don't forget, he was at AC Milan with that best ever team, won the Champions League in 2007 and 2003 with Kaká, Nesta. So you're expecting a man, a bit like Guardiola, he's doing that at Man City, Bayern Munich, Barcelona. Would he be able to do that at Everton? It's the same, isn't it? So I don't think he can do any better than Carlo Ancelotti. But you're absolutely right there. He's given them that know-how. But special mention to the centre when Alan got substituted for
Andre Gomez?
Decore. So Decore came in and he was the anchor, and he's the one who's blocking every attack from Leicester City, nullifying them essentially, and he did really well there when Alan went off.
I'll be honest, I didn't pick up on that, but that's a good shout. And to be fair, that was a big game because Leicester are 4th and Everton are 5th, and there's only 1 point separating them now. So come the end of the season, this game could be a pivotal game when we look back at the season. So we'll go to the next result, and that was Fulham 0, Brighton 0. What you got to say about that game?
Yeah, it's a bit of a. We mentioned this game in the last podcast. It was a 3-pointer, wasn't it? But
6-pointer. Yeah.
6-pointer. Sorry. Yeah, none of the teams took advantage. Yeah, again, bit of a poor showing really. 2 teams was lacking the firepower really, but I think it's more of a point gained for Brighton to get away than is a really lost opportunity for Fulham to get 3 points. But yeah, it is. Every point matters for Brighton, especially away from home. But I've got nothing really to say about this game apart from that the disallowed goal. It's a bit harsh when Danny Welbeck came off Danny Welbeck. He had no idea. I have to say about Danny Welbeck, if I know he might not be watching this, but the guy he needs to just time his runs well. The ball's come in and he's missed it somehow. It's like a tall guy with he's got no hand-eye coordination, but somehow made it as a professional footballer. I used to love the guy.
Wow,
yeah,
that
honestly,
is
sorry.
That's a bit harsh. I tell you what though, that's in terms of comparison, he's like a Carlton Cole. Do you remember Carlton Cole? Like when he was off form, he was absolutely horrific. But then he'll just have like a purple patch where he'll bang in like 7 goals in 10 games. So I think that's what's going to happen with Danny Welbeck. I was disappointed with him, but I do think goals are going to be around the corner and he will be netting. So FPL players, Brighton make chances. At some point, Danny Welbeck is going to hit it, and I think it's time to put him in. Next game, Liverpool 2, Spurs 1. The big game. And I know you said you're excited to talk about this game, so talk me through it, Azad.
Well, I'm going to start with Jose Mourinho. He stole the limelight, didn't he, at the end of the game? You can just imagine what he said at the end of the game to Klopp, and when Klopp was just smiling at him. You think, what has he said? And he's come out saying, we were the better team. And Klopp's like, yeah. He's just smiling at him, just putting him in his place. But how was Tottenham the better team in that game? I don't understand. You look at Liverpool got the 3 points. You look at the stats. Yes, Tottenham had the better opportunity where Stephen Bergwijn hit the post and he also put one wide. Yes, they had the clear-cut opportunities. But Liverpool, they're a wounded team. And, that's what champions are made of. So especially with Reece Williams coming in, you've got Curtis Jones coming in, 2 youngsters. Absolutely great. Reece Williams, this time last year, he was playing in the conference, wasn't he? Or a couple of seasons ago, up against his son and Harry Kane. Oh my God, and perfect performance. Perfect performance. Liverpool, that's what champions are made out of. But I can imagine who's... Yeah, go ahead.
I disagree with that. I don't think it was a perfect performance from Reece Williams. The reason I know Son is world class, right? But it was Reece Williams that plays him on. His positioning was at fault for the goal. I'm actually a bit more of a Mourinho fan here, and I actually believe what he said. Jurgen Klopp had that one tactic. Let's keep pressing. Let's keep trying to put things in the box. Their first goal was lucky. The second goal was a set piece. Okay, so I don't think they did anything to create any amazing chances. The best chance they created was when Sadio Mane managed to finally turn Aurier and smash one onto the bar. Whereas Mourinho will look at his team's big chances. Stephen Bergwijn, right at the start of the first half, has to be more composed. But the second one, where he hits the post, is just awful. Absolutely awful. A top player, not even a top player, but a decent player puts that away. And I think the pressure's on because there's quite a few decent players on that Spurs bench. He knows that his position's under threat, and I think he's missed because of that. His work rate is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but Bergwijn, I was very disappointed. And then Kane, straight away from the corner, missed his big chance. And, potentially that is the difference. Firmino scored from the corner for Liverpool. Kane missed from his corner. So I actually understand why Mourinho felt aggrieved. I think in terms of the game plan, you've got to play to your team strengths, and Mourinho's team played better to their strengths than Liverpool did to their strengths. But Liverpool just got, well, they got more than a slice of luck basically to get that victory. But I cut you up. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I just want to go back to Bruce Williams. That was a fine line. If you have a look at it, that was a fine line. Him playing him on or off, but it was a fine line. But however, I have to say about Jose Mourinho, if he was going to send a statement out tonight, last night was the night to send a statement out. They've just beaten the champions at their home ground. First time they've lost in over 3 years. That was a statement. So I can imagine Jose Mourinho's pain and anger of losing that game. So that would have been it. I can imagine him the night before, him imagining getting 3 points at Anfield, but it's not happened. I do feel for him, but no, this is Liverpool. They've got the 3 points and they've done what they needed to do. So I think they were the better team in that game. Especially with 2 youngsters on there as well.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I think Liverpool choose to play the youngsters. They have loads of older players that they decided to bench. So you can't keep calling them youngsters. Like Jones had quite a few games under his belt now. That's like constantly calling Greenwood a youngster for United. You can't do it. Like if you're playing, you're playing. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And as the old saying is. So we'll go to the next game.
Still learning his trade, Shad.
I'm sorry. I don't have that. If you're playing in the Premier League, you're old enough. That's just how it is. Like if you weren't good enough, you wouldn't be playing. It's as simple as that.
It's all down to maturity. Look at Marcus Rashford. He came on the scene and bagged 2 goals against Arsenal. He was a mature player, young player.
I think it was against City, I don't even think it was Arsenal. Arsenal weren't a big club then. I think it was Manchester City when he came on and he scored the goal.
Arsenal finished second that season, don't forget, right? So don't forget, finished second that season. But what I have to say, there's a difference between a Mason Greenwood and a Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford he's a young, intelligent man. He's a lovely young man, and he's done a lot this year. But Mason Greenwood, look what he's done. He came on at the scene the same age as Marcus Rashford, and he's messed up a few times, and his mind's all over the place. So it's all about maturity.
Get out of here, man! Get out of here! I think that's horrific. How are you going to say that? Youngsters make mistakes, all right? Greenwood, when Rashford was the same age, the pressure wasn't on. Like he could have gone and shagged as many birds as he wanted to. That's a fact. Greenwood's getting his limelight. He's playing for England. He's got called up. He's taking advantage of it. That should be the end of it. It's done, dusted. It's under the carpet. We forget about it.
It's a distraction, Shad. Do
you know what though? The distraction is over. I watched him play for United today, and you know what? He looks like a threat, and that's the best thing that you want. You got to remember, he's still only 19. Rashford had a good breakout season, but it's taken him 3, 4, maybe 4 seasons to really be like a big player for United. It was that PSG moment that was his watershed moment where he bagged that penalty. Boom, he's made.
You're a United fan, but Marcus Rashford was in that England team in Euro 2016, wasn't he? Anyway, talk about maturity. Look at Jack Grealish. He's 25, 26, been around 5 years now, more than 5 years, but he's still doing stupid stuff. So it all depends. Jack Grealish is showing maturity.
Whoa. 25, 26. When Jack Grealish was 17, 18, 19, he was doing all sorts of shit that was reported in the newspapers. He recently got banned for driving because he went out, got drunk drive. So if you're saying Jack Grealish and you're trying to measure that with the same brush with Mason Greenwood, I disagree with that. Look, has Mason Greenwood got banned from driving?
Not yet.
Was he drunk?
Not yet.
Was he saying one day about coronavirus to stay in, the next day he was out partying? Look, you just mentioned Jack. You used the wrong example, yeah.
No, I'm just saying. Look at Jack Grealish. Look, he shows maturity on a football pitch, but off a football pitch, he's not mature. I'm just saying some players don't grow up.
He's 25 now, 26. Let Greenwood get to that age. Watch, he'll be a world beater. I'm telling you now. So get off the back of Greenwood. Let's go on to that result. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. Tell me about that game.
Yeah, so I want to start with that red card. I mean, what is that referee thinking? I don't know. I'm just gutted that Benteke will be banned for the next game. I really am, because he's starting to get back up there. And, he's, like you said on the last podcast, Shad, he caused the defenders, caused them issues all game, the Tottenham defenders. And, Crystal Palace are going to miss him next game. So while Benteke is occupying the defenders, they got Zaha, Eze, MacArthur, Townsend running the show. But they're going to miss him next game. But shouldn't have been a red card. 2 yellows for the same thing. He's not even looked at the player. That referee needs to be looked at and maybe ref a couple of conference games. But anyway, the game, 1-1 probably seems fair. I think West Ham, I don't know. Both teams they're playing really well at the moment, I would say. I would say 1-1's a fair result. I got much to say about this game. Is like a dead rubber game, wasn't it? Like in terms of watching it, not for the points, but there's nothing really. It didn't look like that other team wanted it more than the other team. But yeah, it's not much to say really. But it's just that the red card incident is mad.
Absolutely. Do you reckon the referee's a Liverpool fan? Looked at it and thought, you know what, Reece Williams, he doesn't want a bit of Benteke's. He doesn't want a bit of, Fabinho doesn't want a bit of Benteke's. Send them off. Let Liverpool get lucky once again and waltz their way to a title. I would have loved to have seen Benteke playing up top against Liverpool. He would have bullied them. #bully. Benteke is a bully, and it's just now they're going to play Jordan Ayew. It's a completely different game compared to playing a big, strong centre forward. Yeah, it's disappointing to see. The referee does need to be looked at, but what can you do? Sometimes you can't. Roy Hodgson has the right to be furious. It's just a shame. West Ham once again. David Moyes. It's another point. He's doing a really good job. 8th in the Premier League with the fixtures that they've played. Where do you reckon they're going to finish? Do you reckon they can nick a European spot?
I really hope they do, because the West Ham fans deserve it. They left Upton Park thinking, we're gonna play European football. However, 2 seasons in a row they got knocked out to a bunch of part-timers from Romania. So I hope they do this time. I think David Moyes, if he could repeat what he did at Everton 15 years ago to West Ham, that'd be really good. I know a lot of West Ham fans, and they do deserve it. They're a good team to watch at times. I love to see West Ham doing well, really, in Europe as well.
No, I agree with you. I actually think they play some really nice football as well. I think people always will lump David Moyes with long ball football, and sometimes they play that, but they actually play some really nice football down on the ground. They got wicked players like Jared Bowen, Said Ben Rahma. They have some really talented players in that squad. So it will be interesting to see where they finish.
We never mentioned one thing: the goal. Sebastian Haller. He executed that well.
Trust me, I'm telling you now. Well, who would you say had goal of the week then? Jack Harrison or Sebastian Haller?
Sebastian Haller. The only reason is it was just the technique was just amazing, and it was an equalising goal where Jack Harrison's goal was a great goal, but didn't really mean anything. It was the 5th goal, and they were 2 goals clear already. It was a great goal, don't get me wrong, but Sebastian Haller goal, amazing goal. Just him to try that was just, the audacity to try that was amazing. But
I keep saying it, bro. I keep saying it. Confidence. When a player gets confidence, everything starts to come off, and we're starting to look at these big money signings. Christian Benteke, confidence, scoring goals, causing havoc. Joe Linton, confidence. I know Newcastle lost 5-2, but they still scored 2 goals away from home, and he was a nuisance. And then you look at Sebastian Haller. That finish was brilliant. He scored, I think, 2 goals in the last 4 games, but he looks like, he's gonna be a nuisance. He's gonna cause defenders problems, and he's starting to pay West Ham back for what they paid. So it's interesting to see how much.
He came from Frankfurt, didn't he? From Germany. He scored a lot of goals in Bundesliga. However, there's that goal against Sheffield United was class as well, winning goal. I have to give it. So, Shad, I have to pause you there for a couple of seconds, but loads of teams are playing well this season. They're really performing well. The points tally, Everton are 5th with 23 points, 13 games gone. The points tally is low. That just suggests that everyone's beating each other. Do you get what I mean? So I think Frank Lampard or someone said that this is probably going to be the lowest points tally for a championship winner. So, and I think that is the right thing. I think that's a right shout, really. So I think it's going to be an interesting season. And there's no more that Arsenal's going to rock up to a team and win. Man United's going to rock up to a opposition's stadium and win. There's no more now. It's gone. That's finished. Finger of the past. So it's going to be Premier League's going to get better and better and better. Liverpool are doing it at the moment, but how long can that last for?
It's true. But I think I mentioned it about Manchester City. I know it was a terrible draw against West Brom. They had a lot of big chances, but I think Manchester City are on the verge of clicking. And the reason why is Aguero is about to come back. And I think in the next 4 or 5 games, Manchester City will be in 2nd or 3rd position. They've got that one game in hand. But if you've got Manchester City coming up and you support a team that they're about to play, be ready for like an absolute arse whooping. I don't know who they've got next game. It might be Leicester, actually. No, I might be wrong there. No, Leicester, Southampton. I think this is going to be the first game where Southampton have found out. I really, really do. But let's go on. We've got a couple more games. So the next one was a pretty dead rubber, boring. Well, it's not dead rubber, but it's a boring game. Aston Villa 0, Burnley 0. I'll start on this one. I thought Aston Villa might concede. You know, they had Matty Cash suspended. They had Douglas Luiz suspended after, you know, a bit of ill discipline last weekend. But they've actually done really well. They've got, you know, they were probably unlucky not to win the game, in all honesty. Burnley, they had a chance right at the start of the game, didn't take their chance. And they didn't really look like they were going to score. So, you know, I regret making a prediction that Burnley were going to score. For Villa, maybe 2 points dropped, but they're still playing really well. They're hard to beat. I don't really want to focus much more on this game, so I'm not even going to ask you about it, Azad. I'm really sorry. Going to go on to the final game of the night. Sheffield United 2, Manchester United 3. What you got to say about that?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to lie to you, Shad. I'm not going to lie to our audience. I was working, so I couldn't really watch the game. I managed to catch the last 35 minutes, and I thought when McGoldrick scored that goal, Man United were going to be in trouble. I was hoping that as well. But, you know, Man United went 1-0 down first 5 minutes, you know, to get back into it away from home. That's what they do. Go 1-0 down away from home and win the game, don't they? So,
that's it.
But yeah, I think I would suggest by looking at the stats and who scored and everything that Man United had a solid game. Sheffield United might have bothered them a little bit, but yeah, it's again.
In that case, I'll do the review. If you haven't watched, I've watched the whole game. Basically, Dean Henderson had an absolute howler, and McGoldrick scored a goal after Burke robbed him off the ball. Right towards the end, it shouldn't have been a corner. Came off a Sheffield United player, swing the corner in. Lindelof goes to head it clear, hits McGoldrick in the head. So McGoldrick's just, you know, he's racking it up with scrappy, lucky goals. But you know what? When you're at the bottom, you need that luck. And, you know, Sheffield United have had the luck and they've still not picked up a point. So I'd be worried if I was them. Well, obviously, I would be worried, you know, have they only picked up the 1 point still from like 12, 13 games?
Yeah, so, 1 point in 13 games. But
I think they've gone. They've gone. Let's be honest. Like, they're lucky that we're still mentioning them just because there are 3 of the teams that are doing really badly in the Premier League along with them. But, you know, they're not picking up results. Manchester United in the middle of that game. So the 80 minutes in the middle, United look good. Pogba lost the ball a couple of times. And the commentators on Prime Video, they love to mention anything to do with Pogba. But 100% he meant that pass for Martial. You know what it is about Pogba? He's a player frustrating to watch because he is somebody that can do the brilliant. Like that ball to Martial was just sublime. He had a few more like moments of skill, which was really, really like it was beautiful to watch. But he lost the ball on quite a few occasions, and that is what is frustrating me with Pogba. Like, you do not have to show how good of a technician you are every single time you get the ball. Sometimes you just need to pass it on. You need to move on, okay? Rashford, the first finish, he took really well. Beautiful strike. I love the way he hits that ball that clean. The second goal, Ramsdale definitely should have done better. The Martial goal, Ramsdale again got unlucky. Martial, predatory instincts. He's there. He's got the goal. I think Martial might go on a run. Maybe a little bit too expensive for FPL players to risk it this week. But if he does well again next week, definitely take a little gamble on him. As a defense, I don't know why Manchester United keep conceding goals. It's hard to watch. And I think why it's so hard is because Sheffield United haven't really created much. They've got fortunate, they've got the goals. And United have been unlucky at times where they've conceded sloppy goals, unlucky goals.
Well, that last goal was a bit. Victor Lindelof won the header onto McGoldrick and scored, didn't he?
That's what I mean. It's lucky.
Shad, I've got a few questions really. So I want to know about this Daniel James. He came on, he burst into the scenes last season. He's on the bench. I've not seen him only for Wales. So what is it about him? What's happening?
So he played really well, but I think he lost his father last season. So obviously that's the kind of thing that it makes a big difference in somebody's life. You know, yes, he plays quite one-dimensional, but he is also lacking confidence. I saw the Wales game, I think it was in the last international break, and Daniel James looked red hot. He scored an absolute banger, and I think it just requires a little bit of fortune, and that player will come on, and you know he'll crack on again. Like tonight, he was supposed to come on at 3-1, and then that McGoldrick goal goes in. He gets put back on the bench, and Scott McTominay comes on. It's the kind of thing that, you know, it dampens somebody's confidence. Maybe we will see him over the next couple of weeks. But the other reason why we haven't seen much of him is because of the development of Mason Greenwood. You know, he has come on at the back end of last season. He scored, what was it, like 7 goals in the Premier League? This season, yes, he's only scored the 1.
Left foot crackers.
You know, they keep saying he's the best finisher in the team. And the more experience you get, I reckon within 2 to 3 seasons, he is going to be an absolute top player. I'm talking maybe not world class, but the continental level standard. So, you know, to compare right now, who would be a continental standard, like a Marcus Rashford on the continent, top quality player. He's going to bang 15, 20 goals a season. That's the kind of player that Mason Greenwood is going to be within only 2 to 3 seasons time.
We'll see if he has that right mentality, Shad. Yeah, we'll definitely see that.
Okay. Did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask? You said you had something else.
Well, I wanted to know about Donny van de Beek. You know, he's gone from starting for Ajax every game. You know, being their star player, but now he's
the difference between Ajax playing in the Eredivisie compared to playing in the Premier League is a big difference. Came on today, had a chance to put Marcus Rashford in almost straight away. Didn't go for the pass. Rashford was fuming. You could just see it. The ball didn't even look too difficult to play. Rashford would have been through for his hat-trick. Almost in that exact same attack, Van de Beek again had an easy pass to put somebody down through the right flank. He messed up that pass too. And it's the kind of thing where, you know what, maybe if you're confident, you play it better, but at the same time, when you've got given the opportunity, you've got to take it. And Van de Beek, he didn't take the opportunity. So I'm sorry, but until you start showing when you get given the opportunity, this is why I should come on, then you're not going to get those opportunities. If you want the comparison, you look at Juan Mata, came on today. He actually made a bit of a difference, made some good movement, was unfortunate not to score. You know, if he hits it either side of the keeper, the way he catches his volley, it goes into the back of the net. So I think that's the difference. That's why Van de Beek's not getting played. And on top of that, you know, Bruno Fernandes's form, like, you just can't take him out. That's the place where Van de Beek probably wants to play. It's probably the place Pogba wants to play. But the way Fernandes plays, there is nobody else that takes that.
You're not touching Fernandes. You're not touching Fernandes. So do you think Donny van de Beek be exiting in the summer?
No, not a chance. The guy's still very young. It takes time for some players to develop, get into the sort of rhythm of the team. It happens. It takes time. You aren't instantly going to start performing. It's a different league, different country, and it's an adjustment period. You know, so I think it'll come good. At the back end of this season, I think there'll be a lot of fixtures for United. I think they'll do quite well. You know, still got the FA Cup to play. You still got the Europa League. I think Van de Beek, he'll get the experience he needs, and he'll probably play well at the end.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Shad, for that.
All right. So we're now going to go on to predicting we're just going to do either win, draw, or defeat. And then we'll come back and compare it at the start of next week's show to see whether myself or Azad has done better. So the first game, Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. What are you predicting for that one?
I'm going to say a Liverpool win. They got to know how, and I can just see Liverpool just getting a win. Maybe by the odd goal.
I think it's going to be a draw. I know that I mentioned Benteke, but it's a draw. Southampton, Manchester City. What do you predict for that?
I think it'll be a City win again by the odd goal, so 2 aways for me so far.
All right, I think City are going to win as well. So Everton versus Arsenal. What do you think?
It would be a stalemate 0-0 draw.
All right, I think Everton are going to win that. Newcastle, Fulham. What do you make of that one?
Well, you know, I think it's unpredictable, really. So you don't know what Newcastle are going to show up at the moment. But I can see Newcastle nicking it 2-1. Newcastle win.
All right, I think it's going to be a draw. You know, I think Fulham have started to show a lot of backbone under Scotty Parker. So that's a draw for me. Brighton versus Sheffield United. This is probably the biggest 6-pointer yet this season.
Well, I'm not going to be watching it, so definitely not. You hate Brighton. I don't know. I think Sheffield's first 3 points. So yeah, Sheffield United.
Okay, well, I'm going to go for a Brighton victory here. Looks like we can agree to disagree. Spurs versus Leicester. Spurs versus Leicester. What do you reckon, Azad?
It's a game, you know, playing at the Tottenham Stadium. Well, historically, it's always been an interesting game. I think Spurs are going to nick it. I think, you know, Leicester's got a hit and miss.
Yeah.
I don't think Leicester they're not going to perform that well away from home. It's not against the Jose Mourinho side.
I think Spurs are going to take that as well. United versus Leeds.
I'm going to have to go for United victory here.
What, Man United or Leeds United?
Man United.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Manchester United victory here as well. West Brom versus Aston Villa. Big Sam's first game for West Brom. What do you reckon here?
It's going to be a West Brom win. I know that for a fact. I know that.
All right, right. He knows it for a fact because I'm going to go with an Aston Villa victory just because he knows it's for a fact, okay? Burnley versus Wolves.
Another game I'm not going to watch. Burnley versus Wolves. Oh, it's going to be a 0-0 draw.
Okay, I'm going to go for also a 0-0 draw. And then Chelsea versus West Ham.
West Ham United. I personally think West Ham, Chelsea's tails are down at the moment. West Ham have been Chelsea's bogey team over the last couple of seasons, haven't they, at the Stamford Bridge.
All right, well,
West Ham's got the know-how. David Moyes is going to give them that know-how.
I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a draw, and I think that is it for our predictions. And that is it for the show. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Until the next time, stay safe and make sure you share, subscribe, and like this video. All right, people, take care. Get out of here.
See you guys.